Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Good to see you again. Before we get into today's video, I'm just going to remind you to hit the subscribe button and hit the bell so as you get to be one of the first people to get notified every time I upload a new video. Today's video, I want to take a look at these Batman, the 4K restorations of the first four Batman movies. So first up is Batman 1989. Tim Burton, of course, directed this one. Michael Keaton as Batman, outstanding. I kind of feel like if you were like an 80s or a 90s kid, maybe that Michael Keaton is probably your Batman, and younger kids these days, Christian Bale is their Batman. Let's not even go into Val Kilmer or George Clooney, but yeah, Michael Keaton as Batman, Jack Nicholson as Joker, pretty amazing, and you have Kim Basinger in there as well as Vicky Vale. So picture quality on this one, 4K picture is absolutely amazing. The shadows and the highlights and stuff, the shadows, a couple of scenes that stood out to me was where after Jack Nicholson gets sort of transformed into Joker and he goes back to the penthouse and he kind of, he walks in and reveals himself to the kind of mob boss, Jack Palance. That was a really cool scene, great, and you can really see the detail in Jack Nicholson's face that I couldn't personally see on previous releases of this one. All the Batcave stuff looked really cool as well. Anything with shadows and a couple of highlights here and there, like reds or stuff like that, is going to stick out on this one. Soundtrack, Dolby Atmos soundtrack sounded amazing. There was a couple of, I know people did have issues with this because they sort of changed the sound mix for the Atmos mix, or they added in new sound effects. So you kind of know the film, you just know what it looks like, you know what it sounds like. So for me, where this new kind of sound mix stood out was in the chemical plant where Jack Nicholson falls and into the acid or whatever and he gets transformed into Joker. That's where I noticed there was a bunch of different sound effects and stuff. I didn't notice it anywhere else, so I'm not too sure if that was the only scene. Somebody probably more well informed than me could tell us about that, but I didn't notice it anywhere else, but other than changing the sound effects, nice sound mix on this one. So we jump into Batman Returns now, 1992, again directed by Tim Burton. Of course, you have Michael Keaton returning as Batman. We have Danny DeVito in here as Penguin and Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman. Just a quick note on the cast. For me, I remember watching this as a kid. Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman steals the show completely in this movie for me. And just completely overshadows everyone else. I think that was a great performance by her in this one. Again, a couple of scenes that stand out. Batcave stuff looks really well. Anything with dark shadows and stuff like that. The Batsuit looks cool. The standout scene in the whole movie for me was where Catwoman goes to Penguin's lair and she takes the sort of board, puts it in her mouth and lets it out. The red on Catwoman's lipsticks really sticks out. Stuff like that, really nice bright colours. In a pretty dark movie. Again, Dolby Atmos sound mix on this one, really well done. Sounded good. I didn't notice any different sound effects or anything like that in this, so I don't believe that they messed around with any of the sound mix on the Atmos mix on this one. One little note I do want to throw in about Batman Returns, the first two. The 4K picture looks amazing, and if there's one negative I would kind of throw in about these two is the picture is so good that you can kind of notice the stunt performers in the suits, whereas I didn't really notice that before in DVD or Blu-ray versions of these movies. In Batman, most noticeably, where Batman is fighting down in the street, Vicky Vale sent up onto the kind of catwalk thing up above. The guy comes at him with a knife or the swords in the street, and he's kind of fighting him. And most noticeable to me there that isn't Michael Keaton. It's clear that it's the stunt guy in Batman. Again, in Batman Returns, there's a couple of scenes with Catwoman where you can see it's not Michelle Pfeiffer, it's the stunt performer. So just a couple of things I thought I'd know. Not a big deal. It's just thought it was more noticeable than it was previously watching these films. Okay, so for me, we kind of get into these last two Batman movies out of these four, and they're just not very good. That's my opinion. Some people may like them. I think the majority of people don't like them. Batman Forever, 1995, directed by Joel Schumacher, who comes in with a completely different sort of take on Batman, where Tim Burton is kind of like the dark and brooding stuff. These are kind of, not that they're not dark, there's some cool dark scenes in these next two Batman movies, but there's a lot of kind of colourful stuff as well, like all the neon stuff and all that kind of thing as well in these Joel Schumacher movies. To me, Batman Forever and Batman and Robin are kind of really colourful and vibrant sort of movies to transfer. Again, looks great. Dolby Atmos soundtracks sound pretty cool. No additional sound effects or anything like that. I believe it's only Batman 89 they done that on. But yeah, Batman Forever. So we have Val Kilmer as Batman. better than Clooney, but not all that great to me. Tommy Lee Jones, Two-Face, I didn't like him at all in this movie. Not a fan of that. Jim Carrey, I think he's typical Jim Carrey. Sometimes he's kind of like, he's. I think maybe he's trying a little bit too hard in this. He's kind of, to me, his thing sometimes is like he makes the joke and then he's shouting and then he's talking again. And he's shouting and okay, he is quite funny, I will say, in the scene at the ball where Bruce Wayne's kind of in the suit and Jim Carrey as Edward Nygma is in the suit, and he's like, if you check it out if you haven't watched it, because he's literally mimicking everything Val Kilmer as Bruce Wayne does. That's pretty funny. I will say some of the outdoor scenes in Batman Forever look great. There's a shot of Wayne Manor stood out to me in the outside. You get the two kind of big statues at the front, and the house is further on in the background. Framed really well and looked really great. Outdoor stuff in the HDR on the 4K in this one. Just a quick note of interest in Batman Forever. So the soundtrack or the score was written by Elliot Goldenthal, who also done Alien 3. So the scene where Robin steals the Batmobile, that music, and he kind of has the fight with the kind of ninja gang on the streets. The music from that is actually from Alien 3, where Sigourney Weaver gets attacked in Alien 3, where she goes to the wreckage. Just an interesting thing I sort of noticed and thought I'd let you guys know about this one. Okay, so then we hit 1997's Batman and Robin. This is absolutely brutal. I can't really put it any nicer than that. So again, we have Joe Schumacher coming back to direct. We have actually main titled cast member here is Arnold Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze, who was awful. George Clooney as Batman, bad. Chris O'Donnell returns as Robin. We also get Uma Thurman as Poison Ivy and Alicia Silverstone as Batgirl. So this is 97. So Alicia Silverstone kind of like hit this like high between maybe 95 and 98, where she like literally everything she done, she couldn't do wrong. So I remember being a big fan of Alicia Silverstone. Couldn't wait to see this. I mean, she's okay in the movie for what it is. For me, stand out in this is Uma Thurman. I really liked her as Poison Ivy. It is a pretty over the top movie. For what it's worth, but Uma Thurman quite good. She's a standout to me in this one. Again, the 4K picture looks amazing, and the Dolby Atmos soundtrack is great as well. I don't notice any differences in there. Sounds good, nice mix. Mr. Freeze's outfit, actually the suit, the Mr. Freeze suit, looks really cool, pun intended, with the blue LEDs and stuff like that. The 4K really makes that stand out. You get all the greens and the reds and the kind of pinks and purplies of Poison Ivy looks really great in the 4K as well. Again, the Batcave stuff looks pretty cool with the darks. One thing I thought looked terrible in this is at the end of the movie where Batman, Robin and Batgirl, they go up onto the telescope and they're in the new bat suits. So the bat suits are kind of black with the silver kind of highlights. I believe it was Batman's suit. Just the silver looked really bad, like literally like it was just painted on. Sometimes 4K brings out the worst of what might be hidden in otherwise, a previous release, maybe like a DVD or a Blu-ray. But yeah, that was something I didn't particularly like about this movie. Again, you're getting the Joel Schumacher style, really bright and vibrant and neon. The rainforest ball is a cool scene in this where you get all the colours. Where Poison Ivy kind of introduces herself. So check that out if you want to see like how colourful this is, or even the Turkish bats which Poison Ivy turns into her lair. You get all the plants and the kind of building, the architecture, everything. That looks super cool in 4K. So bonus content on these 4 Batman movies, as far as I'm aware, they're pretty much the same as the previous release. So if you're not aware of the previous release that I have, and anyway, are these covers, those versions. So you're going to get the 4K disc and the Blu-ray disc in these. So there's no additional content, bonus content in 4K, just the movie. The Blu-ray disc does have the movie and all the bonus content. They're pretty much the same as those previous releases that I've shown. As far as I can tell, it's the same stuff. So you're not getting any new bonus content there. Rating on these ones, I think it's kind of comes down to personal preference, as I said at the start. So, I was born in the 80s, so for me, Batman is Michael Keaton is Batman. Batman 89, 5 out of 5, have to go on that. Picture looks great. Other than the new sound effects, that's the kind of one negative, and maybe spotting a couple of stunt performers. Otherwise, you can't fault this. I kind of heard it said before, maybe on a podcast somewhere, and completely, like, to me it makes sense that Batman 89 is Tim Burton directing a Batman film, And then Batman Returns 92 is Batman in a Tim Burton movie. I think you kind of get full-blown Tim Burton for Batman Returns. But again, as I said, great movie. 5 out of 5 for me in this one. Michelle Pfeiffer, absolute standout in this. Great one. For me, I would kind of rank these in like order. These 4 particular movies in order of release. Batman 5 out of 5. Batman Returns, close second, 5 out of 5. Batman Forever is better than Batman and Robin. Val Kilmer is better than George Clooney, but they're both horrible. I don't like them as Batman at all. Again, I say no different bonus content or anything on these than the previous releases. So, but again, picture and sound mix nice on Forever, and same on Batman and Robin. 4K looks good on these. So are they worth an upgrade? If you already have these type releases, same bonus content. So if you're somebody who's into bonus content and you want more or bonus content in 4K, you're not going to get that. But the picture and the sound quality for me is enough to like sort of warrant the upgrade, and pretty much drop, I think, about €25 on each of these. So you're talking 100 quid to pick these up and upgrade to 4K. For me, it was worth it. I'm a big fan of Batman since I was a kid, so they were worth the picture and sound quality, worth the upgrade to me. Okay guys, so that's going to do it here in this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you like it, and if you haven't, please subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so you get notified before everyone else that the new videos have been posted. Thanks for watching guys, and I'll catch you on the next video.